Hi, looking to see if maybe you'd be interested in purchasing this sword.
Are you a closet samurai or something like that?
No. My father-in-law brought it back from World War II when he was stationed in Japan. I think this sword is really cool, and I'm looking to get 10,000.
A woman walks into the pawn shop carrying an old samurai sword. But this one isn't like any other. It was confiscated during World War II, and it's worth a tremendous amount of money.
It's a great piece of history. During World War II, there was this whole thing called the spoils of war and war prizes. Might sound a little strange now, but it just goes back from thousands of years. I mean, that was part of a soldier's pay. Do you mind if I take it apart?
Of course, Rick couldn't tell if it was an original piece, and with $10,000 on the line.
How much you want for it?
10,000.
He absolutely had to bring in an expert.
I have no idea what it's worth. With these things, I have a friend who knows everything about them when they come in.
The sword is ready for inspection, but Rick is definitely not prepared for what the expert is about to reveal. This isn't just a wartime relic. It's a sword with special historical significance. Forged in 1863, it was entrusted to Lord Choshu with one mission: to protect Japan's imperial family.
So this blade is actually very interesting. This blade was made in 1863 by Nagahiro and was given to the Lord of Choshu to protect Japan against enemies of the emperor, the imperial family.
Now that everything is clear, Rick has just one question left. How much is this sword actually worth? According to the expert, it could go for as much as $10,000, which takes the seller completely by surprise. Excited, she offers Rick the sword for $5,000, knowing he needs room to make a profit. But Rick, being the stand-up guy he is, offers her $6,000 instead, saying he'd be making way too much on the deal otherwise.
Big question, what's it worth?
Well, in its present condition and the fact that it has very high historical value, I'd say this sword is probably worth about $10,000.
Wow.
I have to make money on it.
Oh, I realize that. 5? Can you make money at that?
5,000 is just too low. I will give you $6,000 for it.
The oldest samurai sword that you had in the shop.
It's all in Japanese?
Yeah, I couldn't read it. Good luck with that. And I took this crazy samurai sword in on trade, and I need to turn it into cash ASAP. I went for my heart. I trusted the guy that I was talking with. He seemed like a straight shooter, and we're here to find out if I was right or wrong.
A guy walks into the pawn shop with a samurai sword, claiming it's so old. It might just be the oldest sword to ever come through the doors. He's hoping he didn't make a huge mistake because he got it in a trade for his car. Even though he took a huge risk trading for this sword, he didn't even know how to unsheath it properly. Rick, clearly shocked, didn't waste any time. He immediately called in an expert.
Find out if it's real, I actually have to pull the handle off. This is what matters right here. This is the name of the master here, Yoshisugu.
The expert reveals that the sword was crafted by the famous Yoshisugu, a name known for producing some of the strongest and highest quality blades of that era. Rick wants to know what a sword like this could be worth. The expert explains that, given its exceptional condition, it's valued between $15,000 and $20,000. The seller, thrilled to learn the sword is authentic and worth more than he expected, asks Rick for $18,000. Rick, a bit frustrated knowing he could have snagged the sword earlier for just $8,000, counters with an offer of $10,000. Realizing he won't be able to convince Rick to pay more, the seller comes up with a new idea. He suggests making a trade.
Can we do something with the sand rail? And then I'll get a good fuzzy feeling like I didn't get burned on the sword.
When they got to the car, Rick started explaining that he'd invested a lot into it and that he bought it a year ago for $18,000. The seller, clearly excited, asks Rick if he can start it up just to see if it's the real deal. That's when Rick knew. The moment the engine started, the seller would fall in love with it, and he'd give exactly what Rick wanted in return.
He's going to give me anything I ask for.
Well, I definitely want to make a deal, so let's make it happen.
Rick saw the seller's interest in the car, just as he expected, and he already had a plan in mind: to get the sword and $8,000 in cash for it. He opened negotiations at $10,000 plus the sword in exchange for the car. But the seller didn't back down. He countered with just $3,000 instead of $10,000. With years of experience in deals like this, Rick calmly brought it down to $8,000, saying it was his best offer, even though that had been his target from the very beginning. Not wanting to lose the car, the seller, a bit desperate, accepted the deal and sealed it with a smile.
I ended up giving them $8,000 cash out of my pocket. I don't know how they do this to me, but they do. I guess he is the better salesman.
I've got this ancient Japanese katana signed by Koide Ishida himself, and I'm interested in selling it.
All right.
A guy walked into the pawn shop hoping to sell a samurai sword. He claimed it was an ancient blade signed by Koide Ishida, but in reality, that swordsmith never existed.
How much are you looking to get?
Oh, $1 million.
When Corey heard that the man wanted $1 million for the sword, he was stunned. That left him with only one option: to call in an expert to see if the sword was authentic and if it could really be worth that much. When the expert arrived, he asked for permission to examine the sword. He began explaining that during World War II, these swords were incredibly powerful weapons, even claiming that there are images showing one of them slicing through a machine gun barrel. He then disassembled the sword to check its authenticity, but it turned out the signature was on the wrong side. That meant only one thing: it was just a replica of the original blade.
Reproduction of a Kamakura period sword.
Wow.
With that being said, Corey had no choice but to walk away from the deal.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? I have a samurai sword that my family's had for a long, long time.
A guy walks into the pawn shop with a samurai sword, but not just any sword. This one is made of wood and noticeably shorter than most. He claims it was passed down from his grandfather and says he's looking to sell it for $8,000 so he can take a vacation in Florida.
I was looking to get $8,000 for the sword. If I walk out of the pawn shop today with $8,000, I will take my family on a vacation to a theme park in Florida.
Looking closely at the sword, Corey realizes it might actually be something valuable, maybe 100 years old, or even 5,000. Seeing the potential, he asks the customer what he wants to do with it. The man says he's hoping to sell it for $8,000. Corey, left speechless by the price, knows he needs backup and calls in an expert.
Oh, what you got today?
A weird one. It's what appears to be an old scabbard.
When the expert arrived and saw the sword, he wasn't all that impressed at first. It was a fairly common type in Japan, but eventually he discovered a hidden compartment that was once used to store coins, meant to prevent theft during travel. That small detail significantly boosted both the sword's authenticity and its value.
Now you're talking something very, very rare and special. So this thing would be worth an easy $8,000.
Now that the value was clear and everything checked out, it was time to negotiate. Corey broke the ice with an offer of $4,000, but the seller quickly countered with $6,500. Seeing how confident the seller was, Corey raised his offer to $5,000. The seller, happy he managed to push the number higher, gladly accepted the deal.
I got something for you. Oh, sweet, a ninja sword. That's a samurai sword. Same thing.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my 1600 samurai sword. I got the sword because the client owed me about $300. I like to sell it because when my wife, when she's angry with me, she kind of looks at it.
If you want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the work that went into this video. Thanks for watching.